Antarctic ice just collapsed, and a 510 square kilometer iceberg unveiled life forms that defy scientific understanding. What scientists found beneath that ice will rewrite everything we know about life itself. 12 days ago, an iceberg the size of Chicago broke away from Antarctica's ice shelf. For the first time in human history, we could see what had been sealed beneath 500 feet of solid ice for centuries. What should have been a frozen wasteland with nothing alive. But when the research robot descended into those dark waters, the cameras captured something that made the entire team go silent. Giant sponges nearly 3 feet tall, forests of coral, creatures moving everywhere in water that had been cut off from sunlight since before America was discovered. Then they saw it. A phantom jellyfish with tentacles stretching 33 feet long, drifting through the darkness like some alien life form. Here's the part that will blow your mind. These creatures have been thriving without sunlight, without any connection to the surface world, without any food source that makes scientific sense. They've been living and growing in complete darkness for 500 years. But there's something even more shocking about this discovery. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about where life can exist in the universe. If complex ecosystems can survive beneath Antarctica's ice for centuries, what does that mean for the ice-covered oceans on Jupiter's moons? A silent continent, locked in ice for centuries, suddenly fractures. On January 13, 2025, a slab of frozen Earth, 510 square kilometers, nearly the size of Chicago, tears away from the George VI ice shelf. The numbers are almost too big to hold in your mind. 30 kilometers long, 17 kilometers wide, weighing in at 25 billion tons. One moment, nothing but white silence stretching to the horizon. The next, a jagged wound splits the ancient shelf, exposing a vertical wall of ice nearly 500 feet tall. Satellites catch it first. Sentinel-1 radar sweeps over the Antarctic peninsula, picking up the crack's first movements. A thin, bright line snakes across the shelf, then widens, then erupts. In the command center at the University of Oslo, Dr. Patricia Eska stares at the live feed. She's spent her life studying life at the edge of the possible, but even she is stunned. "It's gone," she whispers, voice caught between awe and disbelief. The shockwave ripples outward. Alarms ping at research centers across 3 continents. Scientists scramble to calculate what's just been unleashed. This isn't just ice. It's a dam collapsing, a door swinging open on a world no human has ever seen. Beneath that shattered barrier lies a stretch of ocean floor sealed off since before Galileo's first telescope. For 12 days, before the sea refreezes or the iceberg drifts away, the clock is ticking. Every hour matters. No one expected anything to survive under that much ice. The textbooks say nothing should. No sunlight, no warmth, no food drifting down from above. But the data pouring in from the satellites says otherwise. The scale of the break is almost impossible to process. The world's media scramble for analogies. Chicago, 5 Manhattans, a lost city set adrift. But the real story is what's revealed underneath. A place untouched, unspoiled, and, as the first glimpses will soon show, anything but dead. Dr. Eska's pulse races. The team mobilizes. Robots are prepped. For the first time, humanity stands at the edge of an abyss that was never meant to be opened. What waits in that darkness has already begun to rewrite the rules of life on Earth. Dr. Marta Liu stared at the ice shelf map, jaw tight, eyes scanning every line. The numbers didn't lie. The shelf's geometry, 250 meters thick in places, riddled with hidden cracks, left no room for error. The Halloween crack had been creeping for months, but now, with the calving, the clock had started. The team had 12 days, not 12 weeks, not even 2. 12 days before the sea would freeze over again, or the iceberg would drift too far, closing the window forever. The logistics were relentless. The research vessel Polaris, a steel fortress against the Southern Ocean's fury, had to reach the fracture site before the ice did. Every hour, new threats appeared on the forecast. Wind gusts, rogue waves, shifting flows. Dr. Liu ran the numbers again. If the sea ice thickened at just 0.3 meters per day, access would vanish in less than 2 weeks. The margin for error? 0. Luis Ortega, the ROV pilot, knew what was at stake. The remotely operated vehicle, 10 meters long, 5 tons of steel and sensors, was their only chance to see beneath the ice. But the tech was fragile. On the third day, a hydraulic seal burst in the main winch. Oil pooled on the deck. Ortega's hands moved fast, welding a patch, switching to the backup winch. Every fix cost precious time. On the 5th day, the ROV's power module overheated, a 12-degree spike, traced to a faulty cooling pump. Ortega swapped out a sensor, ran a software reset, and squeezed an extra 15% out of the battery. The entire mission hung by a thread. Pressure mounted inside the command center. Dr. Liu pushed for a launch, but every decision had to balance risk against reality. Dr. Patel argued for speed. Ortega warned against rushing after the winch failure. The safety-first clause loomed over every choice. One wrong move could mean losing the robot, or worse, missing the window entirely. On January 26th, after days of tension, the captain gave the go-ahead. The sea ice draft was just under 0.8 meters, wind under 20 meters per second. The ROV would descend. No one spoke as the cable unspooled. 12 days, a storm of setbacks, and the slimmest of margins. All for a single shot at the unknown. No second chances, no guarantees. Just the thinnest edge between discovery and darkness. The ROV's lights pierced the black, and the feed flickered with shapes no one expected. Dr. Patricia Esky leaned in, lips parted, searching for any sign of movement, any proof that life could exist here. Instead, the camera revealed a world bursting with life. Sponges, towering nearly 2 meters tall, rose from the mud like ancient statues. Their bodies glowed pale in the beam, latticed with glass needles, each one a cathedral built in silence over centuries. These were not the familiar glass sponges from the Ross Sea or Weddell. Genetic samples would later show something even stranger, a full 12% divergence from any known clade. In the language of biology, that's not just a new species, it's an entire branch of the family tree, hidden until now. Coral forests sprawled across the seabed, polyps swaying in a current that had never felt the sun. The coral skeletons shimmered with calcite, forming a maze of ridges and towers. Isotopic analysis would soon reveal their secret, a carbon signature of -30 per mil, far outside the range of any surface-fed coral. These creatures weren't drawing energy from sunlight or from drifting marine snow. Their tissues pulsed with the chemistry of the deep, fed not by photosynthesis, but by bacteria that thrive on hydrogen sulfide and methane. Somehow, in a place without light, the entire food web had rewritten the rules. Everywhere the camera turned, the diversity multiplied. Brittle stars curled around the coral branches. Amphipods darted through the sponge forests. In just a few hundred square meters, the team cataloged a 35% jump in species richness compared to the nearest open sea sites. This wasn't a wasteland. It was a biological explosion, sealed off for centuries, now revealed in a single breathless moment. Dr. Eska watched the feed in silence. She knew what the numbers meant. These sponges, these corals, this entire hidden forest, they weren't supposed to exist. Not here, not in the dark. Yet the genetic data told a different story. Evolution had been running its own experiment beneath the ice, cut off from the rest of the planet. What else was waiting in the shadows? One by one, the team realized they were looking at a blueprint for life that could exist anywhere, not just on Earth, but on any world with water and a little chemical energy. The camera drifted deeper, and something even more alien moved at the edge of the light. A shape drifted into the ROV's lights, and every breath in the control room caught it once. The camera feed sharpened. There, suspended in the black, was a dome as wide as a city bus, 10 meters across, a living bell pulsing in slow, hypnotic waves. Its tentacles, pale and trailing, stretched out more than 30 feet, curling and uncurling with the rhythm of something ancient. For a heartbeat, it seemed to fill the entire ocean. Ortega's hands hovered over the controls, trembling just enough for the telemetry to catch. "That's not possible," he whispered, voice cracking through the intercom. But the numbers didn't lie. 2,021 meters down, minus 1.2 degrees Celsius, pressure at 21 megapascals. The ROV's sensors tracked the creature's movement, steady, deliberate, drifting at just 0.04 meters per second. A blue-green glow flickered along the jellyfish's rim. The light was real, spectral analysis spiking at 470 nanometers, the telltale signature of bioluminescence. Not a faint shimmer, but a pulse bright enough to paint the mud and coral in ghostly color. For 47 seconds the feed rolled, the world above forgotten. The jellyfish's bell flexed, translucent and impossibly thin, revealing a lattice of veins and swirling clouds of symbiotic bacteria. Mucus trailed from its arms, catching tiny flecks in the water, evidence, later, of a partnership with methane-eating microbes. Ortega's voice cut in again, tight, urgent. "Do not touch it, just hold steady, we're recording." The manipulator arm froze, sensors holding at the edge of contact. Dr. Eska, watching from Oslo, gripped her headset. "That's a full 33 feet, she said, words tumbling out. "It's alive. It's really alive." The jellyfish drifted, as if unbothered by the lights, the cameras, or the sudden invasion of its world. Its bioluminescence pulsed, a slow heartbeat in the dark. The ROV's battery warning chimed, but no one moved. 47 seconds. 1,400 frames. Then, as quietly as it had arrived, the giant slipped into darkness, leaving only a chemical trace and 1,000 questions behind. How does a creature that size survive with no sunlight, no food from above? What keeps it alive in a world sealed off for centuries? The telemetry logs showed a carbon signature, Delta 13C, at minus 70 per mil, proof that this animal is not feeding on surface life. It is built from the chemistry of the deep, thriving on energy that should not exist. The room stayed silent long after the feed ended. The impossible had just drifted past the lens, and nothing in the textbooks could explain it. This wasn't just a new species. It was a message from a world that science had never imagined. Beneath 500 feet of unbroken ice, sunlight never stood a chance. Yet, in the darkness, life flourished. The riddle gnawed at every scientist on the ship. How could such abundance exist in a place so cut off from the world above? Dr. Ingrid Jansen, geochemist, leans over the ROV's live chemical readouts, her voice steady but electric. "We expected a chemical desert. Instead, the numbers are off the charts. Hydrogen sulfide, 0.8 micromolar. Methane, 3 micromolar. In these concentrations, both gases become more than poison. They become fuel. No rays of sun reach this underworld. Photosynthesis is impossible. But here, microbes have learned to eat chemistry itself. Sulfur-oxidizing bacteria line the sponges and coral, turning toxic H2S into energy. Methanotrophs cluster in mats on the jellyfish's skin, feasting on methane that seeps up from cracks in the ancient rock. Each microbe is a living engine, running on reactions that would kill most life on Earth. Jansen's team takes a core from the sediment. Within hours, genetic analysis lights up with SOX and PMOA gene signatures, the blueprints for sulfur and methane metabolism. These aren't just traces, they're active, humming at full throttle. Carbon fixation rates come back from the lab, 0.6 millimoles of carbon per square meter per day. In human terms, that's enough to build an entire food web from scratch, in total darkness, with nothing but raw chemistry. Every animal in this ecosystem is linked by a chain of invisible partnerships. Sponges and corals shelter the microbes, and in return, the microbes feed their hosts. Even the giant jellyfish drifts with a ghostly halo of bacteria, siphoning energy from methane plumes. It's a closed loop, a world powered not by sunlight, but by the restless churn of molecules beneath the ice. What's most astonishing isn't the chemistry, it's the implication. If life can thrive here, sealed away for centuries, what else is possible? On Europa, on Enceladus, anywhere liquid water meets a spark of chemical energy, could worlds like this be waiting, just out of sight? A single iceberg breaks away from Antarctica, and suddenly, the rules for where life can exist are up for grabs. In labs from Pasadena to Paris, mission planners turn from the ice to the stars. If a hidden ocean beneath half a kilometer of Antarctic ice can support forests of sponges and a jellyfish as long as a city bus, what's waiting beneath the frozen crust of Europa or Ganymede? Within weeks, the data from the Antarctic dive land on the desks of the Europa Clipper and JUICE mission teams. Designs shift. Scientists scramble to upgrade their instruments. Mass spectrometers like MASSPEX, imaging arrays like MAGIS, now tuned to hunt for the chemical fingerprints of life, powered by sulfur and methane, not sunlight. The blue-green glow of the phantom jellyfish inspires a new generation of low-light cameras meant to catch the faintest bioluminescent flicker on a distant moon. One project lead, voice steady but eyes bright, says, "We're not just looking for microbes anymore. We're searching for ecosystems." But as the wonder spreads, so does a new kind of race. The moment gene sequences from the Antarctic sponges hit the cloud, biotech companies smell opportunity. Cryobiogen, a startup barely known outside patent circles, files for exclusive rights to a cold-adapted enzyme found in the jellyfish's gel. The timing is precise, October 2025, just as the world's attention is fixed on the ice. Their move triggers a storm. The Antarctic Treaty promises that discoveries here belong to everyone, not just the fastest to file paperwork. Within days, the Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources launches an inquiry asking who, if anyone, can own a piece of life found in the planet's last untouched sea. For the scientists who first glimpsed the hidden forest, the stakes now reach far beyond the ice. What began as a search for life's limits has become a test of how humanity will share, or divide, the discoveries that could change not just our understanding of Earth, but of life itself. The questions echo from the ocean floor to the halls of international courts, and out into the darkness between the stars. Somewhere beneath the ice, life rewrites the rules in total darkness. If alien worlds exist, they may look less like science fiction and more like Antarctica, teeming, unseen, astonishing. Today, these hidden creatures force us to ask, how much wonder still hides on our own planet? And when the ice splits again, will we be ready for what emerges? Let me know what you think in the comments below.